Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Suhei with Suhei Plans, and today I'm really excited to show you how I'm using the Hobonichi Hon in A5 as my companion planner for 2024. I want to talk a little bit about how I'm using a companion planner, what it entails, how it's different to my regular planner. I want to go through also how I'm using each of the layouts in the Hobonichi, including the yearly, weekly, monthly, and daily spread. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of my thought process in using this planner and kind of some experimentations I've done to make this decision. So it's kind of an ambitious goal for today. So grab your favorite beverage of choice, grab a comfy seat, and let's dive in. So what you see in front of you is a Moterm A5 zip cover in the color cream. I wasn't sure if this would fit the Hon, but Moterms just are notoriously roomy, so I figured why not, let's give it a try. And I am pleasantly surprised to see that not only does it fit the Hon, but it also fits the Hon with the plastic cover. I did have to work it a little bit as a disclaimer to fit it into the back, but it does fit. And I personally don't mind that I'm not able to fit the front cover because I want to stare at this beautiful neutral print all day. And I think it just looks beautiful with the cream colored cover. So the Hobonichi Hon for this year, like I mentioned, is going to be my common planner. So what do I mean by a common planner? My everyday tasks, my schedule, events, things at work, play dates with the kids, appointments, all of the daily grind, the in and out that makes up our usually mundane lives is not happening in this Hobonichi. All of that is happening in a much more compact TN with sterling ink booklets. Schedule, events, to-do list, tasks, compact, smaller profile book, throwing it in my purse. That's happening in here. The problem with this alone is that I don't quite have all of the other intention I need to achieve my dreams. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. With a planner, I like my planners to be very accessible and ready to be on the go with me. And that means it needs to be light. There can't be too much going on. Just my calendar, my to-do list, my tasks. That's all I need with me. Fine. But I think that it's easy to get lost in the mundane rat race of it all. And I wanted to pick up the Hobonichi as my companion planner so that I could do more than just live in the rat race of it all. My Hobonichi is going to store my goals. The Hobonichi is going to store my fitness journey, my daily intentions, my meal planning for my family. My Hobonichi is going to house my spending habits. It's going to house all of those other things that really add value to my life that I can't do with just a scheduling book and a task list alone. Okay. And I think it needs the roominess that an A5 has. But unlike the TN, this book is staying at home, but it's something that I'm referring to every day. So hopefully that kind of clears up a little bit what I mean by a companion planner. I found myself not striving for anything, getting lost in my goals and not being in touch with those goals. Just like wake up, do the thing of life, go to sleep, wake up, do the thing of life. And it's just over and over. And I think that we need to really stop and think about how we can work very intentionally towards the things that bring us joy, to the things that we want to achieve in life, the things that we want for our family and for ourselves. And I feel like I just can't fit that into my regular planner, right? I needed something a little bit extra. So that's where the Han is coming in. I mentioned just a few things that I want to use it for, including goals, finances, meal planning. I think those are kind of like the main 4 categories. I initially was thinking about putting projects in here, but I'm going to move those to a different book, and I'll be sharing how I'm using that in a later video. So let's jump in on how I'm using each of the layouts in the Han to explore those other parts of my life that I really want to work on. So let's start with the yearly layout. And I just want to give a quick disclaimer that so many of the ideas that I'm sharing with you all are picked from all over the internet, other YouTubers, Instagram. People have such great ideas. I can't take credit for all of the things that I'm talking about in here. I highly suggest, if you're not subscribed, to consider subscribing to my channel. But there are a lot of other wonderful planner people out there with a lot of good information to share. So for the annual overview in the Hobonichi has each of the months in kind of like a vertical orientation. And I'm going to zoom in right here so you can see that a little better. But what I want to do with the annual is do a tracker. You could do technically like a whole bunch of trackers if you were to use each of these rows, but I don't even like tracking that much. I find it a challenge. I think it's very valuable, but I don't find it to be super easy. So I'm going to commit to doing no more than 5, using 2 columns per row for up to 5 different habits that I want to track. These are probably going to reflect what I'm going to want to do in January, but we'll see. I have a no spend, a digital detox, companion, I don't even remember what that meant, and working out. Here I have just some dot stickers that would represent whether or not I did the thing that day. But honestly, I don't see myself keeping up with this, so it'll probably just be check marks for the rest of the month. And then I'll just check, here's like the days going down. I'll just check whether or not I had a no spend on the 1st, which was a Monday, and so on and so forth for every habit. I can have a habit here. 5 habits, again, that's pretty ambitious for me. I think I'll be doing 3, but it's nice to know that if there's something I really want to focus on for a particular month, that I can do up to 5, but your girl is not doing any more than that. But you're welcome to do more, and instead of using 2 columns, just use 1 for the habit. And then in this bottom, like open box, I'm going to be writing some monthly reflections on those habits. What was really hard? What was a breeze? What did I make significant progress on? Maybe some insights onto why, right? Like no spend this month was impossible because of all the amazing Black Friday deals, what have you. Just to give myself a little bit of context so that when I'm looking at the progress that I made that month with my habits, I have some context to kind of understand the trends. And that's how I intend to use the annual overview pages in the Hobonichi. All of the things that I'm going to be tracking are going to be related to my 2024 goals in some way. Reducing my personal spending. I have so many pictures and videos on my phone. I really need to detox, and so on and so forth. So again, this is where that companion theme of this planner is focusing on my goals, the things that I want to achieve beyond just the grind of the everyday. Okay. But you could certainly use this layout to track more everyday things, right? But I do want to be I want to be really intentional with my goals and the things that I want to achieve for this new year. So that's how I'm using the tracker here. I'm going to zoom back out for you. All right, and let's mosey on over to, and before I move on, I've been using transparent sticky notes to write down these intentions for this planner so that I can change my mind if things come up from now until January. And you'll see I'm using transparent sticky notes or transparent paper all throughout the planner to kind of figure out how I want to use it before I commit. So down here, we've got the same. It's a little harder to... These been on here for a couple weeks now. But again, I'm just using transparent sticky notes so that if I do change my mind, I have some time. And one of the things that I want to also say from now is that I am not going to fill out trackers beyond the month that I'm in. Things just change from month to month, and I want to allow myself the flexibility to be able to change what I'm tracking if I need to in the following month. Okay, so really just 1 month at a time here. So let's move into the weekly pages now. Again, I'm using transparent sticky notes to do some of this brainstorming on how I intend to use the planner. There are some things in here that have been written down in pen, and that's because they are happening. December is around the corner, so they're just in. But a lot of the kind of other intention on how I'm using the planner are on these transparent sticky notes. So I want to use the monthly layout on, there's this big, a generous sized column on the left-hand side where I want to put the goals for the month, 1 or 2. I tend to be one of those people who overcommit myself, and I really need to chill because I always disappoint myself when that happens. 1 or 2 goals for the month, a couple of actions to help you, let's zoom in, sorry about that. A couple of actions to help me achieve that goal. A project that I'm working on and maybe 1 to 3 actions related to that project, all in this section here. This is a lot of room, so I want to have the bottom third or even the bottom half here to list my spending considerations for the month. I think that as much as I would love to do a no spend in December, the reality is it's Christmas time. It's the holidays. I like the good wine for the holidays. It might not be a realistic time of the year to stick to a strict no spend. But I think that writing those considerations down will help me be more realistic with the goals and the intentions that I have for the month. I'm going to use the monthly calendar as a monthly calendar. No kind of like super interesting or different thing there. But what I do want to add is, and I'll zoom in, I'll be zooming in and out. What I do want to add to each day is the total personal spending that I did. I am, our family budget's somewhere else. But I personally want to do better with my spending. I like to buy things. I love clothing and planner things. And I don't always, focus on budgeting. And I purchase too many. I find that I think I purchase too many things for myself. And I'd like to really take control of that. And I think just writing down my personal daily spending habits will be really, really insightful. And I want to do it all in this same book where I also have my goals for the month and I also have my intentions, right, and the things that I want to achieve. I think it'll be good to have these all here. And I think after the month is over, seeing that monthly spending at a glance like that will be very insightful. Then, because I think, sometimes the math needs to add up for us to really know what we're doing. I want to add up all of the personal spending for each week. What's nice is that the Hobonichi cousin labels each of the week. And in these boxes, in this space below, I just want to list the week number and how much I spent personally in that week. And I'll have the totals running across the bottom, right? Because I think that, seeing, $36 here, $20 there, you know, the math, it's like girl math is the terrible stereotype that's trending right now. But it's like, what those numbers don't sound like very much, but when you put them together, it's a different story. And I think adding them up at the bottom will get me out of the habit of the girl math and really give me a nice reality check on what I've been spending. And again, I'm using these transparent sticky notes here just to kind of envision what I want this layout to look like. Pardon. All right, and that is the monthly view. I'm just gonna take a sip from my Stanley here. All right, so now we move on to the weekly layout in the Hobonichi. And I got a lot of comments on my Instagram page about how difficult it is for folks to come up with ideas for this. So I'm really glad to be sharing some things that I'm doing here. So what I want to do with my weeks in the Hobonichi is that I really want to focus on my weekly and daily intentions. Those intentions are going to be based off of my goals or projects or spending considerations for the month. And I want these intentions to be informed by that. But what I want to use the left-hand open column for is to just write, what are my intentions for the week? What would I like to do this week? What are some things that if I could accomplish would help me achieve my goals? Thinking about what's, happening in the week ahead, of course, but just thinking about the week and then what are some things I would like to do? Then in each of the daily columns, I want to kind of focus in and think about an intention for the day. Again, referencing what I want to set out to do for the week that's referenced off of the month, right? And then these monthly goals are based on my year so that everything is always connected. I think one of the things that happens as a year goes on is that we lose sight of our goals. And I think that if I focus every week on my goals for the month and my goals for the month to focus on my annual goals, that those will really be at the forefront and I'll be able to make progress in the year. So I got a lot of the idea for this focus on intention after using the Wonderland 222 planner it's been a couple of weeks now. So I picked up a Wonderland 222 in a B6 for the 2023 B6 because there was on a super sale, and I wanted to kind of test out this idea that I had for intentionality in a weekly spread. And I thought, why not, one, support a small planner business, but two, there's a similar layout and paper that could give me some good insights on whether or not I like this idea. And because it worked so well in the Wonderland 222, I felt like, okay, this is going to be the plan for my Hobonichi. So what I've been doing in the 222 is exactly what I've just discussed. I've been setting out my intentions for that day. What did I want to do? Oh, I wanted to have a workout this day. Oh, I want to start my digital detox on this day. I'd really like to do Taco Tuesday today. What are my intentions for each particular day of the week? So what I was finding is that I wanted some space for intentions for the week as at a whole. This particular book doesn't have like a blank column for a day. It doesn't have a blank overview column for the week. So I was like, ooh, the Hobonichi does. Something else that was kind of tough is that this particular book stacks the weekend. The Hobonichi does not, right? So I thought, okay, this is really working well, but I need the layout to change slightly. I know what does have what I need, and that's the Hobonichi. And so I've been using this, and I'm going to continue to use the Wonderland 222 through the end of the year, because I'm working currently on some intentions and some goals related to fitness in particular that I really want to see out through the rest of the year. And I am using this to, again, what do I want to achieve for that day? What would I like to see for myself on that day? So, you know, tonight I'll come in here and I'll write what I would like to achieve on Tuesday in relation to the goals that I've set for the month of October and for this week. Right here I have last week to be very disciplined with my workouts. Next week, we're going to start moving into a different apartment in our same building, but that's going to be very time consuming. And so I really want to take advantage of some workouts this week because I'm not going to have the luxury of doing that next week. So because this was working so well, I thought that it would be amazing to have in the Hobonichi. Oh, and one other thing I'll add, and it's related to the dailies, is that after writing my intention, I also found myself going back in here and talking about how the day went and how I felt about it. And I was like, wouldn't it be great if I had a daily page to reflect on that intention and whether or not I achieved it? That's where the Hobonichi is going to come in once again. So I'm going to put that to the side. So, so then I've got my intentions for the week here. And let me actually finish up some other ways I'm using the week before I talk about the actual, how my day actually went and how I'm using that in the dailies. So in addition to those intentions, I also want to document my daily spending. Oh, the camera's so shaky. My apologies. I also want to document my daily spending, but not in a summary or a total, but more in list form, right? What did I spend? Okay, in the monthly view, I'll have a total, right? But in this weekly column, I'll have enough space to just write a list of all the things that I spent, right? So that then I can take that total and plop it into my month. Not only is, I think, totals and how much everything came out to is important, but what did I spend that money on, right? I feel like so many things add up. And when I look back, like, did I feel like I really got value from that purchase? And I think having a list will be very insightful. And again, these are really like spacious columns. You can do more than one thing. Then at the very bottom, I'm going to section out a little bit of space for meal planning. I think meal planning and thinking about a low spend are two very correlated actions. So I also want to write down my dinner plans for the week. I can't stress enough how the weekly spread here, the large majority of it are intentions and what I hope to see for the week. Including what I planned for us to eat that day. The daily pages is where I'm going to hold myself accountable to these intentions and just to see whether or not I actually lived them out and to what extent. All right, so one thing I'll say too before I go to the dailies is I have to admit that I am a bit worried about how much time this is going to take and how, like, whether it's a big commitment and, like, am I going to be able to fit something that's really going to be required me to come in here every day. I'm feeling good about that because of all of how well things have been going in here. But it is still something that worries me, and, you know, life gets crazy sometimes. So definitely stay tuned in the new year with me to see how this actually pans out is the word. So last but not least, and again, if I didn't already mention that, I'm using transparent sticky notes to put all this down. Last but not least is the daily pages. I'm going to use, before the daily pages, the monthly blank spread. I'm just going to use that as a reflection and some creativity here because there's no grid. I feel like I need grid to write straight. So instead of doing more written work here, written reflection, I'm going to try to be more creative and decorative with this page. So then for the daily pages, I'm really going to be focusing on whether the things that I intended to do for the day, whether they panned out. I think in my planner, I'll often schedule how I'd like my day to go. But here I'm going to focus on how it actually went. I want to take this section on the right of the schedule and I want to write down what my intentions were for the day and just some brief context on how it actually went. For example, no spend today? Haha, no way. With Amazon Prime Day, a no spend was practically impossible. I purchased fitness and I should have written stuff. But yeah, like, okay, I really wanted to have a no spend today, but I should have I should have known better. It was Amazon Prime Day. That did not work out. And that's okay. I think that it's important to continue to set intentions, even if we don't always reach them. But I also think it's realistic. We need to kind of acknowledge that we don't quite meet our intentions and try to figure out why that is. And I want to do that with this kind of section at the top. Then I have, and if you haven't already noticed, I am using a piece of vellum to write down what I'm envisioning this layout to look like. Vellum is, you can find this in a lot of different places. It's usually like paper that you'll see with invitations. A Sarasa mark-on works really well on vellum paper and you don't get like any smudging. Give it like a few seconds of a dry, but you're not going to get a lot of smudging. And I was just using this vellum to kind of outline some ideas for how I wanted to use the daily page. And this is probably like iteration number 2 or 3 after a few trials and errors. Put some washi tape down to stick it in and voila, you can explore your layouts. And you can do this, right? Like every month. Like I want to change up my layout. Let me grab a piece of blank vellum and just explore some different layouts. And it's so see-through that you'll have no problem seeing through the page. So then the bottom half of the page will be a brain dump, brainstorm, thought bubble. I tend to be an overthinker sometimes, and I can fill up a notebook in no time at all. I have no doubts that I'll be able to fill up this page with my thoughts for the day. It's not quite a journal. Sometimes I have like this one burning question. Like for example, the other day I got a new standard size insert and it had 5mm grid. And I am now in this heated debate with myself as to whether I like 5mm more or 4mm more. And I'm sure there are more important things to be thinking about. But these are the kinds of things that are just get like stuck in my brain that I just need to unpack and unravel. And this is such a roomy page. I can't imagine a better way to use some of it. Right? And this is just like a gray highlighter to give my layout a little bit of structure. And that is how I'm kind of intending to use the daily pages. The months and the weeks are very much what I want to achieve, what I would like to see happen in this month, in this week. And then my daily pages are going to really focus on the actuality of it. Did I do the things that I intended? If I did, how did it feel? If I didn't, why not? What can I do better next time? And then that monthly reflection, right? I know that this page is located before the daily pages that month, but I want to be able to flip back to it at the end of the month and just write down, not write, because I really want to use this page creatively, but just illustrate, decorate how the month actually went. I'll take a look at what intentions I set for it. I'll take a look at what my habits were like that month, and I'll do some decorative reflecting on that on this page. And that is how I intend to use the Hobonichi Hon for 2024. It is for the things that I want to achieve, the things I want to see in my life. I think that it's so easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle of everything that we forget to keep our goals at the forefront of each and every day. And I really want to do better with that in 2024. This is a beautiful book. It has amazing paper. I love the writing experience on Tomoe River paper. This cover is a vibe. The Moterm cream fits so well. I feel like I'm going to want to be accountable to this beautiful planner that I've set up. And that is how I'm using the Han. Thank you so much for watching. If you would be interested in seeing more of the how I use the Wonderland 222, please let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have a companion planner. If so, how do you use one? And if not, I'm happy to take any questions or comments on how I'm using the Han. And definitely stay tuned for more, especially in the new year, as I really jump into this. Thank you so much if you stuck around this long. I really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day and happy planning, y'all.